Hi guys and welcome to another edition of the General Jerry channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be discussing something that I was kind of talking about Facebook. I wasn't even going to make a video on this, but I honestly believe that I have to make this video. And it's a long discussion that has kind of, people haven't been talking about a lot, like in terms of today in 2016, and that is, should WWE go back to TV-14? Obviously, at the chance, people would fucking run out to the streets and dance if WWE announced that it was TV-14. And there has been some people, not all, but some people have made the argument that TV-14 wouldn't change anything. In fact, it would actually make WWE worse. Now, honestly, you know, this is my opinion. I believe WWE is better as TV-14, and I'm going to explain why. And I'm not even going to do this in the General Jerry character. I'm going to try and do this more of my kind of point of view, because I'll be honest with you, I'm generally concerned right now for the product. I am generally concerned with the way they're portraying these characters on television, and by the looks of this brand split, it's more quantity than quality, and I am concerned. And if you guys can you please send this to WWE, because honestly, I feel as if someone in WWE needs to see this. And I'm not going to be the typical, oh, make it TV-14, we want to see blood and violence. No, I'm actually going to be making an argument as to each factor as to why they should go down this route. Number one, in my personal opinion, life is not like what it was in the noughties. If you look at the early 2000s, life is not as different, but it is in terms of cursing and swearing and blood and gore. Things are very different right now. Now that everyone has access to the internet, they can watch YouTube shows that curse and swear, and it's not age restricted. In fact, YouTube still don't have like a rating to, like, if you're cursing or whatever, and they don't tell you like to not curse, which I think is a good thing. But WWE unfortunately haven't gotten with the times. Unfortunately, the generation right now has seen horror movies, and it's not like, you know, in the 80s or 90s where your parents said don't go and see that horror movie or don't see that gory movie. Today's society is very different. It's not like, oh, these gory games or whatever. In fact, like, most people now play Call of Duty and you know, Battlefront and you know, I remember Shadow of Mordor, the guy's cutting a guy's head off, and I'm not saying WWE should be all blood and gore. I'm just saying that it needs to be more edgy to a point where it appeals to this generation. Unfortunately, WWE at this point is appealing to a generation that doesn't watch WWE. The generation right now wants edgy storylines. They want to essentially you know, subjects that might, you know, that might interest them, and I think that's something WWE should be invested in. Also the fact that they're trying to fight with each other, they do little punches with each other, and then they try and do a feud after it. That's not how a feud works in real life. People will literally curse and swear at each other and then beat each other up. I feel WWE needs to go down the route now of a TV-14 standpoint, because if they don't, it's going to be completely irrelevant at this point. So yeah, like, and as you can tell, I'm not doing this in the General Jerry character. I'm doing this as me, because I feel as if I do this as General Jerry, I'm gonna go, oh, WWE, fuck them and shit. I am generally concerned. It's the storylines aren't working. The storylines are revolving around the McMahons. They're trying to make this kind of Shane versus Stephanie thing. It's been done a fucking 100 times. And, you know, there's a lot of inconsistencies with WWE's storyline as well. If you look back at, like, Shane and Stephanie at one point were conspiring against Vince McMahon in the invasion angle, if a lot of you will remember that. So, there's a lot of inconsistency with WWE, but that's not the main point I'm saying. What I'm saying is that society as we live in right now is more, they they don't really care about swearing or cursing or violence or anything like that. And WWE is essentially trying to be the big adult that says, no, 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 you can't do that. No, 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 don't you be swearing now and shit like that. That's not the way the world lives in right now. You know, if you look at the news, there's fucking bombs going off left, right, and center, and people are watching that nearly every day. So it's like for people to argue that the fact that PG will still work, but they can make it edgy. No, it doesn't work. WWE have tried this PG route. It doesn't work. Please stop. And I personally believe WWE needs to go down a route where it says, listen, this isn't working. Let's go back to TV-14. Because also, and another standpoint that a lot of people have not said, is that children don't care about WWE. They're aiming for a demographic of children, and most children that are playing Pokemon Go, they're playing online games, they're doing other things. They generally don't care about wrestling. Like, children, yeah, there are some that maybe like John Cena, and maybe they might like maybe some wrestlers, but the whole dynamic of the children in today's society generally don't care about wrestling. And they need to reach a demographic that is more suited to their standpoint. I've heard of many occasions of people that have literally turned and left watching WWE, and now they're watching UFC. And unfortunately, because WWE went down that PG route, they have driven those fans off. It's not too late. There are still fans out there that still want this TV-14 thing, and honestly, I believe that they need to do it. The way things are going right now is horrible, and the feuds itself are very cartoony, you know, and again, I'm not bashing Sami Zayn or anything like that. I know the General Jerry character might, and he might bash Enzo Amore and Big Cass and stuff like that, but honestly, you know, with Sami Zayn, it's kind of like a guy's sitting there dancing around, and then we're supposed to believe he's a badass beating up Kevin Owens. The storyline just doesn't work, and I feel so sorry for the wrestlers in WWE, because you can tell they're trying. If you look at that shoot video that Cesaro did, you can tell that he is literally eating himself inside, and he wants to do like some freedom of these wrestlers, but unfortunately there's not, and that is the problem with the way things are now. So that's really, you know, what I really want to talk about. Also, let's just call it like it is. The number one movies that are coming around now, Captain America, Civil War, you gotta look at, you know, all these Marvel movies. They're not just PG, they're like 12A. Some of these movies, they're not PG because they can't do it, because Captain America is beating people up with a shield. Obviously, it's not going to be for kids, you know what I mean? It is for children to a certain point, but that's why they have certain cartoon programming to suit that demographic. But their main demographic, if you look at DC, when they did Batman versus Superman, that was in no means a child's movie, but they can have animation for DC that aims for children as well. And honestly, it's getting a bit ridiculous the way WWE are trying to force this, and they're trying to force a situation that it's just getting too much. It really is. It's getting too much, and I feel genuinely sorry for maybe, I do believe that maybe Vince McMahon would like to, but some of the people that back WWE will not allow it. I think maybe if WWE had all, like, since this whole election, it's very clear that maybe this election that his wife had did cause a lot of TV-14, but unfortunately, since they've done that, the ratings have gone down, and I personally believe that this is the perfect time to go back to TV-14. I think it's a perfect opportunity, and I think it's something that a lot of people will enjoy, personally. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, because I've been seeing a lot of people on saying, oh, how does WWE change? How does it get better? Honestly, it starts off with TV-14, and a lot of people say, well, storylines were bad in TV-14 then. Yeah, that some of them were, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, anything is better than what we're watching right now. And I was just editing this and I just wanted to point this out. A lot of people make the argument that TV-14 storylines were cheesy and bad. If you actually look at TV-14 storylines, they're more memorable than the PG ones and the storylines that are happening right now. In fact, if you go from maybe 20 years from now, more people are going to talk about The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin than they probably are of the way things are happening right now. So I'm just halfway through editing that, and I just wanted to make that point, okay? So yeah, just because I seen some people saying, oh, well, some of the TV-14 stuff is terrible and shit like that. You gotta look at this. Yes, there were some, but if you look at overall as the TV-14 package, most of the storylines were memorable and good. So yeah, anyway, I'll continue the video, so go ahead. WWE's kind of format is quantity, like just shoveling hours and hours of wrestling, that somehow it's going to work. No, it has to have quality to it, and I think the only way they're going to do that is with TV-14. If you look at Deadpool, for example, like even superhero movies in general, Deadpool is the #1 grossing superhero movie, and it's rated R. So clearly there is a dynamic there of people that generally don't care about cursing and swearing and blood and gore and adult humor. It has to be like any other. They have to treat it like a lot of people compare WWE to UFC, and that is not the case. They should be comparing themselves to Game of Thrones and Sons of Anarchy and actually mainstream like Breaking Bad and TV shows, because WWE isn't a sport. It's sports entertainment, but that's the key word, entertainment. They have to entertain the people, and if they honestly don't do that, then what is the point watching the show? And I do believe TV-14 might be the way to go about it, and I honestly believe that that is the only way to go past this kind of stuff. Like I said, if you look at online, like if you look at PewDiePie, for example, he's the #1 subscribed channel on YouTube. Whether you like him or not, he curses, he swears, and he does all this, but at the end of the day, he's the most subscribed channel on YouTube. The same applies for these other guys that are on YouTube. They're highly subscribed, but even though they curse and swear and stuff like that. So it's something that WWE, I think, needs to have a look at, and I think, I hope someone, well, I doubt it, but I hope one person watches this, because it needs to happen. And I really wanted to speak, like, it's not as General Jerry, but as myself, because I want to get it through to WWE that maybe, you may have to go down that path of TV-14. They probably won't care about this video, but I was just talking to someone on Facebook about it, and I said I hate to be the guy that says this, but TV-14 might be the only way to go about it, and I really hate saying that, because it's like, oh, there we go, the typical TV-14 thing, but sometimes the obvious answer is the best answer. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is General Jerry on the General Jerry channel, signing out. Hope you enjoyed that video, folks. Hopefully WWE do something with TV-14.